Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, we'll turn our attention now to that meeting that the president had with governors about they need to access funds to pay salaries. Well, joined now by Mr. Dapo, Oyewunmi, who is a legal practitioner as well as the CEO, Center for Law and Business. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning. It's my pleasure.
Well, this question about whether or not the states, that's the FG, should help out and in what way, making the rounds quite a lot, even though you have so many of those states, their workers at the moment just want no excuse whatsoever. They just want to be paid. You followed what's going on at the moment, and what do you make of, first of all, going there to say, well, look, this certain funds, you have to get it back to us. Then I think they dropped the question of bailout at the end of the day.
Yeah, let me first say it's an unfortunate situation that you find workers not having been paid their salaries for months on end. That's an unfortunate situation that should not be allowed to happen or to linger any longer. However, the solution of a bailout, I'm not so sure that will work. First of all, it raises a lot of constitutional issues. Does the federal government have access to the funds? Can funds be paid out without being appropriated? Has it been made provision for in the budget for the year? And all those kind of issues that will complicate the entire issue of the bailout. And then bailout really, even look at the supernatural level, the Greece bailout by the EU. It's taken a lot of complications, a lot of pushback by the people and all that, because at the end of the day, somebody's got to pay for the bailout. Is it going to be a grant from the federal government? Is it money that's going to be paid back? If it's going to be paid back, where is it coming from? It's not the people's monies and things like that. So while recognizing the fact that it's an unfortunate situation, I'm not so sure the bailout is the way forward because of all the issues that are pertaining to it. If I may make suggestions, I would say really this is a time for the states to sit back and apply some prudence in the way they manage their affairs. In fact, perhaps it's suggesting or signaling to the nation that perhaps some of these states are unviable. Because it's always been said, creation of states, we started from 12 states. It went on to 19. It went on and on until it's got to 36. How many of these states are viable?
Do you think they will accept a merger of states at this point?
To be honest with you, I think it's bound to happen.
Well, if I was a merger, not even because
not merger. You see, we may not have the political will to do what is right, but deep down, a lot of people will know that these states are not viable. However, for selfish reasons, so I want to be governor. What do you need 36 governors, 36 government houses? 36 everything you want to do. Perhaps what some of the states will begin to need to do is some integration, economic integration. Let's look at those areas where one state has a comparative advantage over the other states, especially contiguous states. So if one state has comparative advantage in education, let that state provide the education for that its state and a few of the other states around. And let the other states step down on the issue of education in that state. If another state has comparative advantage...
When you say step down, are you implying shut down all the schools within that state?
No. I'm talking
don't build anymore?
No, I'm talking of the administrative arm of the state. No, all the states would have, but I'm trying to say, for example, if Lagos State has an advantage in running education, all the states must have schools. Oh, we must continue to build schools. In fact, I believe education is one of the major bane of this country. And if we're going to change the country around, then everybody must be educated. There's no doubt about that, because the educated person is an empowered person. Is someone who can then take care of himself in the future. An educated person is someone who will fish and not need to be given fish every day. So I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm saying the administration or the management of the educational facilities, the schools and all that, should be left in the hands of the state that has a comparative advantage in managing schools. in managing the teachers, in doing the things so that everybody is not just doing the same thing and repeating 36 ministries of education, 36 boards of primary education, and just replicating the same thing all over and over and over again. If another state has a comparative advantage in aviation, and look how many, almost every state capital has an airport. How many flights go to those airports? For example, let's take the Oyo State, the Ibadan Airport. I don't see why there should be an airport in Osun State. Ibadan Airport, Ilorin could serve all those areas. There's an airport in Akure, there's an airport in Osogbo, there's an airport in Ilorin. The country is not that big and all that. Take the railways, for example, again. We should even try as much as possible to movement of cargo, movement of fuel away from the roads.
So it would seem as if most of these states haven't explored enough to see other areas or avenue where they can get funds to run affairs of states.
Oh yes, I even think really that everybody has to try and do their internally generated revenue. They need to increase it and find ingenious ways and innovative ways of doing that without harming the people. Then the size of government needs to come down. And when I say the size of government, not only in the size in the sense of how many personal assistants and special assistants that I have, but it also comes back to this issue of how many states do we really need? Do we need all those 36 states? Do we have more regional issues? Do we have less people? So that's too. So when we then have a reduction in the size, we need a reduction in the number of PAs. There was a state governor at one point that had 1,000 special assistants. I mean, how do you pay that? What does the special assistant? Then also even the workforce.
That's another aspect.
Yeah, it's another aspect. Do we need 10 people doing the job? Maybe it's only 5 people we need. We really need to address these issues. There are hard decisions that have to be taken, and it must be taken if we want to move forward.
Let's take the issue of cutting down cost of governance,
yes.
jobs, for instance.
Yeah.
A lot of people will argue with you because they'll say, I mean, right now in Nigeria, government is the biggest employer of labor.
Oh, yes.
And if you're saying cut down, do we need 10 people when we can use 5? That will mean a lot of people will be laid off. So what will happen to those people in terms of jobs?
Okay. There's a solution. First of all, if a nation is going to grow, some people must bear the pain. You cannot achieve success, you cannot achieve growth without paying a price. So some people may have to pay the price. However, let's look at this nation. This is a nation with a large land mass of viable, fertile land. One of the easiest things we can do is agriculture. We've been talking for so long, for as long as I can remember, about diversifying the economy of this country. I have not seen any serious, consistent and concerted effort in that direction. Some years back, we tried the Operation Feed the Nation, where fed schools, children from schools were taken to set up farms and all that. It lasted only 1 year, and that was the end. We saw the Green Revolution of the NPN days. It didn't happen. You can begin to prepare people. It's not something you're going to have to do. It can be done overnight. You can't just wake up tomorrow and say, I'm laying off 1,000 staff. But if there is a plan with the political will, and then even all of us have to buy into it, the whole nation has to own and buy the process. In other words, you and I would know that we have price to pay. It might be my sister, it might be me, but there's a concerted effort on reduction in the workforce over a period. And there's a plan to put them into agriculture, to put them in those other things. It's nice for people to be self-employed. It's nice for people to be able to have the skills to do things for themselves. And perhaps this is the time to do so. Because when they say the necessity is the mother of creation, there's no option. Okay, you don't want to be laid off, yet you are at work and you've not been paid for 11 months or 12 months. Which is better? Get reorientated into doing something that you can work for yourself.